Alright. Kule video sizobe senza kule video sizobe sidila trigonometry. Sidila trigonometry kule video. Now there are a few things efanele siqale kuzona ezi-revision from grade 10 and 11 in order ukuze sikwazi ukuqhubeka nokuchaza la. Because without these few things it becomes difficult to solve our problems with trigonometry. And make sure that you pay attention kuloko engizokusho manje because it plays a huge role mangabe usuqhubeka ne trigonometry. And futhi one of the tips is to stick to one method of solving, because to confuse i-method kathisha ne-method yencwadi ne-method ye-study guide kuyakulimaza. But you have to understand that even each memorandum has many methods of doing equation, so confusing izinto ngakulimaza kakhulu. But here the general things nge-trigonometry is that whenever we are on a Cartesian plane, in a Cartesian plane where we have y and x kanje, and we have a line kanje, we have an angle theta, we have r. A relationship between the angle theta is angle with ama sides akho yakhiwa ila matric ratios lawa. So it's no sine of theta which equals to y over r. Sibe no cos of theta which equals to x over r. Sibe no tan of theta which equals to y over x. This is very important to understand lezinto lezi zo-3 mawenza ama-questions akho, because whenever you are faced with a question efuna usolve, you must know labo ukuthi okay lo lingana nalo, because loko kuyakusiza ukuthola i-relation. So i-angle theta ungamthola using this, depending ukuthi unani. You must see ukuthi maybe ngino y ngino r, then fanele ngi-sin theta, ngino x ngino r, fanele cos theta, or ngishoda ngani, maybe ngishoda ngo-r nginawo x no theta, fanele ngisebenzise u-cos. So any two will give you the third one. Very important to understand leya into leya. But the second thing that you must make sure that you understand is whether you sign or positive in which quadrant. And many people have many ways of doing lento. There's this method which deals with method etila nokuthi bakubhalele a lot of things like 180 minus kanje, but I tend to use the practical one, 360 lap. This is a Cartesian plane, so we know that all are positive, sine is positive, tan is positive, cos is positive. What you need to understand is masithi all are positive, we mean sine no cos laba positive. Masithi la sine is positive, we mean uyena kuphela or positive in this quadrant, and tan kuphela la cos kuphela. So understanding that, look, understand that ukuthi what does it mean mangabe ngithi 90 plus. When I'm adding ku-90 njengoba la kuno-180 kuno-90, mangi-add ku-90 ngiyifolela kule quadrant 90 plus. Same thing mangithi 180 plus ngiyifola kule quadrant. Same thing mangabe ngithi 270 plus ngiyifola kule quadrant, because 270 plus I'm going forward, I'm going go 360, I'm adding ku-270. Same thing mangithi 360 plus I'm falling kule quadrant. This helps you ukuze ungalokhu ukrema ukuthi laphana kubani lapho kubani, because all these table methods whereby bekubhalela izinto confuse you, because bakunika ukuthi ukreme and you can just see by just adding kanje. Same thing, you can go backwards. 90 minus ngila where all are positive, 180 minus I'm going back again kanje, 270 minus I'm going back, 360 minus I'm going, so 360 minus sigle quadrant, 270 minus sigle quadrant, 180 minus sigle quadrant, 90 minus sigle quadrant. Those are the things that you must know and understand. But another thing that you also must understand la kulama questions is a relationship between usine and cos. The relationship between sine and cos. And this relationship goes like this. If I'm saying sine of 90 minus theta, this is equivalent to cos theta. Exactly equivalent. Exactly equivalent. And if I'm saying cos of 90 minus theta, this is also equivalent to sine of theta. We call them co-ratios. They were covered in grade 11. Co-ratios. The other thing that you must understand about whenever you're doing length, this is in a form of, this is a reduction. Yeah, reduce length ephakathi into theta. Yeah, like it is 90 minus cos of theta. But you must make sure that you first check. For example, let's say I was doing let's say I'm doing sine of 90 minus 45. Let's say I'm doing sine of 90 minus 45, and also let's say I'm also going to do cos of 90 minus 45, and also I'm going to do sine of 90 plus 45. I'm also going to do cos of 90 plus 45. There's something I want to show you. Whenever you're dealing with a reduction, what are the things that you must do? Ukuze wenze sure ukuthi awubhede ama-signs awubhede. Now, isebenza kanje i-rule. You first start with what is in the bracket, establish sign ye-trigonometric ratio yakho. Kanjani? What do I mean by saying that? I mean, mangabe uzo-reduce lento, sine of 90 minus 45, ubheka kuqala unjani usine kula. Unjani usine ku-90 minus 45. So 90 minus unjani usine, all are positive. So you now know ngizoba ne-positive sign. That's the first thing. Usine unjani ku-90 minus positive, because I'm going backward. Sine 90 minus backward kanje. So positive sign. So me positive sign, then ke sengizothi ke bani ke sine 45. I-answer yami. But ngiqale ngicheck ukuthi unjani. Same thing for cos nayo. Buka. Cos unjani? Sine, establish sign qala. Cos unjani ku 90? Oh, no. La since sesithe la right, usine unjani ku 90 minus 45 sathu positive. Then ngoba ngisebenzisa u90 ke in this case kuzoba cos of 45 kanje. So make sure ukuthi you understand. Sign first establish sign, after sign then bese ubheka ukuthi ke njengoba no90 uzoshintsha kuba cos of 45 loya. Easy. Nala same thing. Unjani cos ku 90 minus? Well, 90 minus all are positive. We're going to have a positive sign. Then because ngisebenzisa 90, it's going to be sine of 45 kanje. Right? Again, asibukele. Balekile. Sine of 90 plus. Unjani sine ku 90 plus? Oh, sine positive. So we're going to have positive, but ngenxa 90 cos of 45 yaphambana. Nala cos of 90 plus unjani cos ku 90 plus? Hamba ngale system yasiza ukuthi ukwazi establish, and it helps even ngisho kuma big problems a reduction. Ngeke uyithole wrong because most ngale system. Unjani cos ku 90 plus? First establish sign. Ku 90 plus cos is not is cos positive la. So definitely negative la. So it's negative, but ngenxa 90 sine of 45. Right. Okay. So make sure that you understand that. Easy. Isebenza kanjalo ama-co-ratio. So when for an exercise, do this one. Do cos of 270 So as an exercise, do cos of 270 plus 30, and then you must do tan of 270 minus 45 kanje. Nakhona there's something engakutshelanga wena, but I'll leave it to you as an exercise ukuthi kuzokwenzakalani maku tan of 270 minus, but all right. Okay, then that was a part enjalo. So another thing that we must try to understand. All right, before I'm still going to get in with reduction. For now, let me move to a question. And let me do a question. Quickly do a question, Ganja. And let's say we are given this question in the diagram. P is a point. P, we point Ganja. And then TR are perpendicular to the x-axis. And you got all those distances. OR 7.5. OR 7.5 units. Le distance le. OR suka la uzela ku for 7.5. But le distance is 7.5. When I say for the born, it's okay. Should let distance le 7.5. But we basically in terms of a coordinate, the coordinate will be negative 7.5. We basically in terms of a coordinate, because pelasegui the left part, negative part, positive part, right? Okay, then that's negative point, right? Then the question says, determine cos alpha. Determine the cos of alpha. Well, Gilenda thinking cos the leg. Cos of alpha is equal to x over r, right? Upu x wam nangu, upu r wam mangnai. So I must first get to r go Pythagoras theorem. X squared plus y squared equal to r squared. First get to r. What is x wami? 12 squared. What is y wami? 5 squared equal to r squared, square root. R is always positive, so square root of 12 squared plus 5 squared, 13. So R is over 13. So what is my x? 12. R1 with 13. That's the answer, 2 marks. They also say determine TOR in terms of alpha. TOR in terms of alpha. Where is TOR? TOR basho yipi angle. Basho le angle. TOR. Nakho le notation for ijwayele iyasebenza kakhulu ku trigonometry, analytical geometry, now ku Euclidean. On the short I understand the notation. TOR. Alright, TOR so menza kanjani ke in terms of angle TOR. Into efanele yenze nje fanele okay. TOR plus 90 plus alpha is equal to 180 because these are angles on a straight line. So TOR plus 90 plus alpha is equal to 180. Alright. Bese uyabhala ukuthi uyise yonke into ngale TOR fanele umthole e90 minus alpha moyisa yonke into ngale, right? So wenziwa kanjalo, 2 marks lo kanje. Then let's go to the length of OT. The length of OT. I-length ka-OT sikule triangle. Let us look at triangle esikuyona. Sikule triangle there. Sikule triangle there. A triangle esikuyona. And they want to OT. Since they want to OT, we have to establish ukuthi yini esinayo yini esingenayo. Well, la sesiyazi la ukuthi ku-90 minus alpha, la u-90 should la u-alpha nje when we are adding ama-angles akho. La soba no-alpha la. Siyayazi le distance u-7.5. Singamthola u-OT. Kanje. Singamthola u-OT kanjani? Kanje. Le angle i-opposite naleya. Opposite naleya. Le angle i-opposite naleya kanti le i-hypotenuse. So opposite no hypotenuse usine lo lasebenze lapho. So we are going to say sine of alpha is equal to opposite 7.5 over hypotenuse OT. Kanje. Right? By cross multiplication, you can get that OT is equal to 7.5 over sine alpha. Kanje. 7.5 over sine alpha, which is equal to 7.5 divided by sine alpha. Sine alpha ubani? Very easy. Sine alpha, it's going to be 12, it's going to be 5 over 12, y over r. Y over r, so it's 5 over 12. Punch that calculator, 7.5 divided by 5 over 12, and then you get to 18. So this is 18 OT. Well, ngijump ama steps la. Sine alpha equals, ubungaqala ngokudila no sine alpha, like ungaqala ngokudila nale part uyibhale 5 over 12 bese wenza cross multiplication ejwayelekile, which was going to be 5 over 12 is equal to 7.5 over OT. OT wenza cross multiplication. So as part of a verify ukuthi mawenza kanje uzophuma ma cross multiply lapha with law times law, law times law. We verify ukuthi iyaphuma ngempela. So ube hands on when you're doing maths. I-checkele kwawenza ama values akho, do they make sense in? Okay, fine. Then you get, that's it from my side. As part of your exercise, when I do this one, the easy one, when I do the easy one, and this is the easy one, not do this one, pause the video and do this one. Usolve ama questions akhona bese usubmitela ama answers sibone ukuthi yenze ngendlela. Alright, okay, so yeah, okay, now so going back to ama questions a reduction, there are a few remarks that I need to make about your reduction. And well, I've stated how do you use this reduction yakho, how do you check ukuthi this is minus. Make sure you understand your concept, your minus no plus, but also feel free to use the method which when we understand that. But I find this one easy because plus you are phambili, minus you go backwards, and uya phambili uya kanje, which is what we call an anti-clockwise direction. Move out clockwise. So alright, so a reduction, talk about your reduction and your compound angle and double angle and compound. And double angles. But for this one, I'll just speak very shortly about the reduction because it was done in grade 11 and in ngale system language becomes very easy. First thing first, with reduction, we are always trying to reduce something which may be twofold towards my special angles. My special angles, we know my special angles siyawazi ukuthi 30, 45 bese kuba 60 and 90. These are special angles. We don't reduce this one. Okay, as well reduce now. And even 180 we don't reduce to 7 now. Those guys we don't reduce, but these are our special angles, 30 to 90. So we're always reducing a big number to a smaller number. The number that we know is special angle. And once you have a special angle, you can then punch it to calculate. My sin a special angle, so I shall calculate. And for example, this one, we are trying to reduce this. So sine of this is sine of 180 plus 60, and again sine 180 plus, here's 180 plus ngila endaweni ka-tan, so negative sine. First ngi sine sine, and ngeke ashintshe sine la because 180, so but nje sine is negative because sendaweni ka-tan, negative sine 60, and we know sine 60, and mongamazi ke kodwa wena, you can just say sine 60 and get root 3 over 2. This is negative root 3 over 2. That is the part of a reduction. Now, there are a few things that we must understand here. The first thing is, what if I have sine of negative 240? Many ways of doing this, but the easiest way, whenever bony number negative, adding with 360. That's the easiest way. Whenever bony number negative, adding with 360, which means lapha buzothi negative 240 plus 360 pumen 120. So this is sine of negative 240 plus 360, adding with 360, then bese uphuma no sine of 120. Then you reduce lokhu ke kuma uthi sine of 180 minus 60, 180 minus 180 must send out a sine, so sine is positive. So it's about positive sine 60. Again, we found that this is root 3 over 2. That's how you do the part there. But then another thing, if in number again, not on, let's say equal negative, but let's say it's greater than 360. Greater than 360, sine of maybe 390. I've been using sine a lot. Let's say tan of 390. The rule is you are minus 360. Le negative see at 360, le greater than 360 see minus 360. So this is going to be tan of 390 minus 360, because you won't see greater than 360, which is going to be tan of 30 degrees. Tan of 30 degrees, you don't need to know. Share a calculator, even though they said do not use a calculator, but really what they mean, most special angles you can, because I will sabonagala whether you used it or you didn't. So it's root 3 over 3, right? So those are the basic laws that you need to understand with reduction. Once you know these laws, we are fine. There's nothing wrong else. Understand these laws, then we are good to go. Well, let's talk about compound angle. Compound angle formulas are very easy because I'm a formula. It's just a formula. Cos of A plus B. Lega cos of A plus B, but ikhona kwi formula sheet, but you know maku cos ohlale ku cos of A, cos of B. Maku plus minus yaphambana, sine of A, sine of B. That's very easy. And then cos of A plus B, A minus B now, minus B, uzoba cos of A, cos of B plus sine yaphambana, sine of A, sine of B. Bese kuba ke ekawaka sine of A plus B, and it's going to be sine of A cos of b plus isine yenu ibuyiswa nje binjalo, then sizoba cos of a ke manje sine of b. Well, there's no akhona ama-formulas sheet, akhona ama-formulas kwi-formula sheet. A minus b yena is going to be sine of a cos of b, njengoba nje ijele yahluka minus njengale nje. This is really the same thing nje nale yahluka ama-signs. Sine of b cos of a, lento iyafana le multiplication yasivumela sense kanje, right? So these are just the formulas basically. Let me do an example of how to use these formulas, and the example will be into kanje. And let's make the example into kanje. And the example, let's say I'm doing cos of 75. Cos of 75 is reduce, break it down into special angles by saying this is 45 plus 30, which is going to be cos to a of 45 cos of 30 minus no plus sine of 45 sine of 30. What is that? I shall calculate root 2 over 2. Then this is root 3 over 2 minus root 2 over 2. Then this is going to be half. Then you can then punch this with calculator and say root 2 over 2 root 3 over 2 minus root 2 over 2 and this is half. Being root 6 minus root 2 root 6 minus root 2 over 4. Ileyo ke indlela besingenza ngayo. So yeah, as part of your exercise, do this one. Sine of 15 break it down into our special angles now. Okay, now so we double angle manje. So we double angle, and the double angle deals with in our formula nakhona. Let's look at sine 2x double angle nje le basic imnandi, sine 2x cos of x cos 2x 3 la nayo qala cos squared x minus sine squared x 1 minus 2 sine squared x 2 cos squared x minus 1. So these are the formulas. Alright, so we won't prove them, but in order to prove them, if you want to prove them, you may prove them like this. You can say since usine, if you check usine of x plus x uzophuma, so phuma sine of x cos of x plus sine of x cos of x kubili 2 sin x cos x. Same thing nalawa, same thing ungayenza. So cos of x plus x, so about cos x minus sine x sin x, which is going to be cos squared x minus sine squared x. So the first one here pum la amanye awu2 waprova nge-identity ethi sine squared x plus cos squared x is equal to 1. So you must use that identity uyifake la, mhlambe lesi mhlambe ufake u-cos squared x elingana no-1 minus sin squared x, uthathe lento uzoyisubstitute la, ithathe uyifake la, azophuma-ke la amanye. Uphinde futhi ushintshe usebenzise sekuwu-sin, u-cos sekuyena ngale, uzofaka la, izophuma nale azophuma u-2. As part of your exercise, pause i-video uzama ukwenza lokho ubone ukuthi kuyaphuma yini. Alright, so i-double angle isebenza kanjalo. Then I think by the information lesesinayo, we are good to start questions that may arise with regard to these things. Sesingaqala senza ama-questions ngalento. So let's look at a question. Here's a question. The question is saying simplify the following to one trigonometric ratio. Okay, right. That's not a problem. Let us simplify this thing into one trigonometry, to a single trigonometric ratio. Now, sin x, there's nothing we can do with sin x. Let's just leave it as sin x over cos x. Utan, remember tan ukuthi ubani sin x over cos x. Ma identity, you must remember the identity. Sin x is equals to sin x over cos x. Identity. So siyamshintsha manje. Then siqhubeka sithi plus sin of 180 plus when uye kule diagram 180 plus isendaweni ka-tan, so soba no negative, I like brackets, negative sin x, cos of 90 minus, so sino positive, soba nesine positive, but ngenxa sesona so 90 sesizothi sin of x. Okay, then you must cancel cos x and cos x. Kusale bani, do it step by step. Kusale oh my god, is everything okay la? Yeah, cos x and cos x. Kusale sin x over sin x minus, so minus over positive times negative minus sin squared x. Again we have sin cancelling sin, we are left with 1 minus sin squared x. 1 minus sin squared x, you must know from identity that cos squared x, from the identity cos squared x is equal to 1 minus sin squared x, sin squared x. Then sesireducile 5 marks wamahala, 5 marks wamahala. Then let's do with that use of a calculator, determine the value of this thing. That the use of a calculator, let us try and determine the value of that thing. Alright, I guess bonne. What can we do? Now, yeah. Then, if you look at this thing that is above, it seems like it's something you have seen before. Icishe ifane nani, because iyasizama ukubheka icishe ifane nalento le. Minus sin squared x. But ayifani, icishe ifane. What is the difference? The difference is ukuthi la u-cos la wethu positive, u-cos squared positive la negative, u-sin la positive la negative. But identity lesiyaziyo, the identity ka-cos 2x. Lo akayena u-cos 2x lo because of the problem. But you can get a common factor ka negative. You keep a negative ngaphandle. If you keep a negative ngaphandle, you can then swap everything kanje. Swap everything. Why is this possible? It's possible ukwenza lokhu because if ubuyela back times ngo-negative inside, you will see ukuthi ibuyela back kuleya into leyo. Try to do that, check ukuthi izobuyela, iyabuyela back. That's why sikhipha negative ngaphandle kanje. Then leya, now it looks familiar. It looks like something that says 2 sine x cos x is equal to sine 2x. The only difference again ukuthi last no 4, last no 2. But then you can check ukuthi omhlawumbe times ngo-2 la, or times ngo-2 la, which leaves us ukuthi sithi lento below should lingana no 2 sine of 2 times 10. Alright, because I can see kuno 4 should fanele kube no 2 nami ngaphambili kanje. 2 nayi kahle kahle ayinawo 2, but le njengoba isino 2, we can conclude that should lapha kuno 2 ngaphambili times where before this ngubhale in red. Well, this is an identity esiyaziyo. So negative cos of 2 times 35 kanje over 2 sine 20. Right, let's continue. This is negative cos 70 over 2 sine of 20. Well, another thing, ama-co-ratios asebenza kanje. Because no cos of 70, no sine of 20, 70 no 20, they add up to 90, so you can cancel this. Because they add up to 90, cos 70, sine 20, this is exactly the same thing. It's exactly the same thing. You can cancel into eyodwa usale no negative half. If nje ukuthi kube mhlawumbe no sine of 40 over cos of 50, because this add up to 90, sine or cos, you can cancel kanje. Not kube ku sine mhlawumbe of 40 over sine of 50, no, bengekwenze. But because the sine and cos, these are co-ratios, 40 or 50 but keep on 90, then we can cancel. That's why nalapha cancel sine negative half. All right, okay, so then you get as part of your exercise, do this. Okay, now ngisho as an exercise. So do this one. Identity is the same as reduction. Yeah, and a little tip nje engayisho because angikwazanga ukucover identity qaleni ukuthi whenever you deal with ama-identities ane double angle, qala ngokushintsha i-double angle ka-sine, because i-double angle sine iyodwa and u-cos mathathu and you don't know to choose it. So you choose eka-sine qala udile neka-sine uyeka cos, and then bese ubheka ke ngokuthi maybe there's no common factor nafanele ikhiphe, uma ikhona uyayikhipha bese ubheka i-expression ezofana nale engenzansi, ubheka ukuthi yiphi engafana nale engenzansi. So iyona ndlela ongenza ngayo leyo. So make sure ukuthi ungasheshi ishintshe yakho siqala ka-sine then see ukuthi kwenzakalani. Okay, it's not a problem nala. Simplify as far as possible without the use of a calculator. Nala do 8 marks, which spot for double angles and stuff like that, co-ratios, all those things. Yeah, this is something also I want to cover later now, if sine 61 is equal to, but this was also done in grade 11, just that there are now little twists which come with this thing, yes, jengala ganja, but it's not a problem. The first thing now you have to do is to say sine 61 equals to root p, based over 1, and say this is y over r. As I said with trigonometry, this is very important, which means y is equal to root p, r is equal to 1. You must get to x. How do you get x? X squared plus y squared equals to r squared. So x squared equals to r1 squared minus root p squared. This is 1 minus p. Then x is equal to root 1 minus p. So I must plus or minus, but in this case, no, we mustn't worry about plus or minus calculate because there's no restriction which is a quadrant. There is no restriction. So just in you well, everything ilanje for yazi sifuna ibe no sin p phaka, if sin ibe no 61. Once you reduce into yakho nje yonke lento la wakwazi ukuyenza ibe no 61 suwinile. Don't need to worry about anything because usuyazi ukuthi sengakwazi ukusebenza ngoba nginayo x nginayo y nginayo r. Njengalana 41 ubani, this is sine of I think 180 plus 61. Let's check 180 plus 61, yeah, 241. Njengoshilo yonke ngifuna ibe no 61. 180 plus unjani sine go to a quadrant result all to negative. And so negative root p. Go sine 61 siyamazi to root p, so negative root p. Let's deal with this one. Cos 61 cos x over r. X wethu sesinayinanga square root of 1 minus p over r1 to 2 max. Cos of 122, well, she should spot a fast relationship between 122 and 61 ukuthi 61 manje times ngo2 phuma 122 njengisho cabanga ngama double angle ngoba sika grade 12 you must think about ama double. So 122 is equal to cos of 2 times 61 double angle. So you can use any identity ka cos, and I choose ukusebenzisa le. I choose ukusebenzisa le 61. 2 minus 1, not 2, 1 minus 2 sin 61 ubani or p squared. That means this is 1 minus 2p. Alright, okay. Then here's the other one no le moyibheka nje, you shouldn't stress ukuthi inkinga because you can see cos 73 cos 15 sin 73 sin 16. This is a compound angle. This is a compound angle. The compound angle kakho nje no plus izoba no minus. So this is cos 73 minus 15, which leads to cos 73 minus 16 minus 15. 73 minus 15, yeah, this is 58. Okay, 73 minus 15 is 58. Ganja. Now 58, how can we relate to 58 no 61? How can we relate to 58 no 61? Cos 73, it's now let's see, let's try ukuthi singarelate kanjani 68 no 51. 68 masithi let's check 2 times 58. Let's check 58 divided by 2, 29. Okay, yeah, 58 divided by 2 29, which means this is cos of 2 times 29 and why 29? Ngambheka 29 mangabe umshaya calculator like with 29 plus 61, you can see ukuthi konke phuma no 90 phakathi, which means in the right direction must be 29. Alright, then you choose the identity 1 minus 2 sine square 29 kanja, and really 29 and 61 they add up to 90, which means this is the same thing as writing with this is cos squared 61. She'll have more ratios. So since we got macro ratios, then this is 1 minus 2 cos 61 now essentially that root 1 minus p squared. So this is root 1 minus p all squared together, which is going to 1 minus 2 1 minus p. Well, so I simplify but actually if I keep it, I think 2p minus 1. That's how you will do cos 58. Cos 58 is 2 times 39. 39 must be and 61 will keep 90. So I am in the right direction because there is a relationship between 29 and 61. 1 minus 2 times sin changes 61 and 21. Cos sin 29 or cos 61. As I was saying, my examples. Alright. Then as part of the exercise, do this one. Do this one as part of the exercise. Try and do these questions. And there are a few tricks na khona la analysis into. So as part of exercise, try and do this one.